Hi and welcome to the video lecture series for building materials and construction. The first video lecture is about the topic stone masonry. Before getting into the topic, let me give you an overview of the syllabus. The topic stone masonry comes under the third module in the syllabus. Students, as you know, we have already completed part 1 of the third module, which deals with the brick masonry. Now, let's move on to the next topic. Now, let's get started. First and foremost, we will check out the structure of the presentation. It begins with the introduction, then we deal with the following topics in the order. We have the general definition, uses of stone masonry, general principles, types of stone masonry, difference between stone and brick masonry, jointing types, stone finishes. Then we have stone masonry for foundation, plinth wall, retaining wall, etc. And then we would discuss few university questions. Is that okay? Now let's get started. Take a look at the images on the screen. Can you identify these structures? They are from the state of Rajasthan. The one on the left is the second oldest fort in Rajasthan, which was built in the 12th century at Jaisalmer. Yeah, it's the Jaisalmer fort, which was built out of yellow limestone and sandstone. The one on the right is the Jodhpur fort, built in the 15th century. This is constructed out of sandstone. The stone architecture in India is rooted in its history, culture, and religion. India has numerous stone structures. It was as late as after the 5th century CE that Indians came to use stone for their edifices in the wake of increasing scarcity of wood. Now, these images displayed on the screen will be much familiar to you. Though the reasons that the Taj fascinate people so strongly would be many and diverse, the major one must be that it's a complete white edifice made of white marble, entirely from the top of the dome to its extreme podium. Then we have the Qutub Minar, built in the 12th century out of sandstone. We have Rashtrapati Bhavan, built in 1920s, designed by Lutins and Herbert Baker. We have numerous colonial structures as well, which were built out of stone. We have numerous stone edifices in our state as well. We have temples, church, palaces, etc. The image on the left of the screen is of the CSI church at Palayam, Trivandrum, and the one on the right is the CSI church at Munnar. Just have a look at these beautiful modern structures constructed out of stone. Have you ever wondered how these structures were built? Then this lecture on stone masonry is for you guys. Now let's get detailed into the subject about what is stone masonry, its definition, etc. The definition of stone masonry is pretty simple. It says that the construction of stones bonded together with mortar is termed as stone masonry. This construction technique is used for building foundations, floors, retaining walls, arches, and columns. The stones used for masonry construction are natural rocks. They provide an economical material for the construction of various building components. The stone masonry is divided into two types. The division is based on three aspects. First, about the way stones are arranged to construct a wall. Second, how accurately or neatly the stones are shaped. And third aspect is about the finishing adopted, the type of finishing adopted. And based on these aspects, stone masonry is divided into two types, that is rubble masonry and ashlar masonry. About rubble masonry, here we would use the stones that are directly available from the quarry without any further refinement. Since they are available in irregular sizes, they have wide open joints in between them, as you see in the first image, in the top image. And the second type is called ashlar masonry. As you see in the second image, it consists of blocks, accurately dressed stone with extremely fine bed and end joints. Here, the term bed joint means the horizontal joints, and the end joint means the vertical joints between two blocks, two stone blocks. So, as you see in the image, the blocks may be either square, rectangle, etc., and the height of stone varies from 25 centimeters to 30 centimeters. The height of each course is kept equal. However, it's not necessary to keep all courses of the same height. So now we will discuss the uses of stone masonry in various parts of the building. So first and foremost, as you see in the image, it's used for building foundations. It's also used for building walls, piles, pillars, and other architectural works. It's used for lintels, beams, arches, domes, etc. And used also for roofs, roof coverings, cladding works, paving jobs, etc. So guys, now let's look into some of the university questions related to the topic. Yeah, you would be wondering about why it's necessary to discuss the questions before completing the lecture, aren't you? Well, it's a kind of memorization technique, guys. When you read a question, your mind always tends to find answer for it. So by the time I complete the lecture, you will find yourself answer for all these questions discussed. Okay, now let me read out the questions for you. First one, explain with relevant sketches different types of stone masonry. Also explain various works involved in masonry for foundation and plinth. So listen guys, sketching is very much essential for the subject for each of the questions mentioned. So second question, explain the following types of masonry works mentioning where they are used. So you have to explain these types of masonry and about where they are used. So we have in fact different types of masonry like random rubble, coarse rubble, dry rubble, and we will discuss it later. Now the third question, coming to the third question, describe ashlar masonry and where are they applied. And again, the fourth question, explain the following types of masonry works mentioning where they are used. So in all these questions, they have asked to explain the types of masonry work, and second, they have also asked about where these kinds of masonry types are applied. So there are two parts, in fact, in the questions. Now coming to the fifth question, it's about explain dry rubble masonry, ashlar stone face masonry, and again the types of masonry works. Now coming to sixth question, explain method of construction of stone arches. How are they different from brick arches? So you have to do a comparative study between the brick masonry and stone masonry. Yeah, and then that's quite obvious from the question. Now coming to seventh question, explain uncoarse rubble. And eighth question, what are the ways in which stone masonry can be used in different parts of the building? Let's discuss some of the terminologies related to the topic. What you see in the image is a construction technique for random rubble masonry. For the construction of this type of masonry, quoins, otherwise called as cornerstones, are built first and a string is stretched between the top of these quoins. The intervening walling is then brought up to this level by using different size of stones. There are certain terms related to this procedure. First, we have the capstones. So what are capstones? The top stone of a structure or a wall is called capstone. It would act as a protective covering over the structure. Then we have risers. It's the stone used on the facing. Size and height is larger compared to other stones. Next we have through stone or bond stone. Is that stone that extends through the full thickness of a wall. And you also see digging bar. So it's a bar used to dig a trench or a pit. Now, this slide explains the necessity of using a through stone for masonry construction. So when a traditional wall is built without using through stones, at a certain stage, it would lead to delamination and crumbling. So we use through stones to avoid this situation. By delamination, we mean a mode of failure where a material fractures into layers, and by crumbling, we mean to fall in small parts or break into small fragments. We also have certain other stones used in random rubble masonry. As you see in the image, there are certain stones represented by certain letters. By B, we mean backing stone, the stone that is used on the rear side of a wall, stone wall. And by F, we mean facing stone used on the front side of a stone wall. And there are also other types of stones known as the hearting stone, represented by letter H, usually used in the center between the facing stone and the backing stone. And we have BS, the bond stone or through stone, which extends through the wall. And we have the chip stone, represented by letter C. These are small pieces of stone used for filling. There are plumb stones denoted by letter P. They are in fact lone stones embedded vertically in the interior of a masonry wall to form a bond between successive courses. Then we have jab stones. The stones used in the sides of a door or a window opening are called jab stones. The alternate ones should extend through the width of the wall. There are certain general principles to be followed in the stone masonry construction. First, the stones should be used for stone masonry should be hard, tough and durable. Second, the pressure acting on the stones should be vertical. The stones should be perfectly dressed as per the requirements. The heads and bond stones, otherwise called through stone. So it should not be of a dumbbell shape, so like this almost. So in order to obtain uniform distribution of load under the ends of girders or large beams, roof truss, etc., large flat stones should be used. The mortar to be used should be of good quality in specified phases. The construction work of stone masonry should be raised uniformly. The construction work of stone masonry should be raised uniformly means the wall should be raised uniformly at all points along its length. Certain points should not be raised higher than other parts. The plumb pop can be used to check the verticality of an erected wall. Plumb pop is in fact an instrument to check the verticality. The stone masonry section should always be designed to take compression and not the tensile stresses, because there is a chance of crack formation under tension, as you see in the image. Also, the masonry work should be properly cured after the completion of a work for a period of 2 to 3 weeks. We have few more principles to be followed. As far as possible, broken stones or small stone chips shouldn't be used. Double scaffolding should be used for working at higher level. The masonry hearting should be properly packed with mortar and chips if necessary, to avoid hollows or hollow spaces. Properly wetted stones should be used to avoid mortar moisture being sucked. Now let's look into the classification of stone masonry. Stone masonry, as we had discussed earlier, is classified into two, as Rubble masonry and ashlar masonry. These two types are further classified into 5 subtypes. In case of rubble masonry, it's classified into random rubble masonry, square rubble masonry, polygonal rubble masonry, flint rubble masonry, and dry rubble masonry. In case of ashlar masonry, it's classified into ashlar fine masonry, ashlar rough tool masonry, rock or quarry face masonry, ashlar chamfered masonry, and ashlar block in course. The subtypes, two subtypes of random rubble masonry. The first subtype of rubble masonry is further classified into two, as built to courses and uncoursed, and the second subtype is classified into three, as built to courses, regular, and uncoursed. So guys, we'll learn each type in detail. So first we will learn the case of rubble masonry and its type. So here is the definition of rubble masonry. It states that in rubble masonry, the blocks of stone that are used are either undressed or comparatively roughly dressed. The masonry has wide joints since stones of irregular sizes are used. Now, take a look at the first subtype of rubble masonry. It's called the random rubble masonry uncoursed. As randomly arranged, you won't find any particular course in the uncoursed masonry. Please note that a course is a continuous row of any unit such as bricks. In this case, stones used are of different types, irregular in size and shape, and thus the joints are wider. This is another image for random rubble masonry uncoursed. Another point to be noted is that long continuous vertical joints are avoided in random rubble uncoursed masonry, and generally larger stones are selected for quoins and jambs. Also, they have provided through stones at regular intervals. So that's all about random rubble masonry uncoursed. Now we'll learn the case of random rubble masonry built to courses. Consider the fact that in the case of built to course type masonry, there can be different heights in a single course. However, the height of the course should be uniform, but it's not necessary that all courses should be of same height. As I said earlier, course is a continuous row of any unit such as bricks. So this is another image of the same type of masonry. So the method of construction is same as previous, except that course is leveled, having thickness 30 to 45 centimeter. The stones of 5 to 20 centimeter size are used in each course. Here, quoins are built first and string is stretched between the top of quoins. Now that we have completed random rubble masonry, let's move on to the next subtype, which is called uncoursed square rubble masonry. It's sometimes also known as square necked rubble. So this type of masonry is made up of hammer squared stones. So here, in fact, three stones are used for construction. They are the neck, riser, and leveler. Literally, these three stones are constructed in a bonding pattern which is governed by a set of rules. The combined height of the leveler and neck must equal the height of the riser. So good appearance can be achieved by using the stones in the ratio 3:2:1. So next we have the square rubble masonry built to courses. So in this case it uses the same stones as used for uncoursed square rubble, but here the work is leveled up to courses of varying depth. The courses are of different height. Each course may consist of coins, japstones, borders and throws of the same height, with smaller stones built in between them to the height of larger stones to complete the course. So next type is square rubbled regular course masonry. In this type of stone masonry, the wall consists of various courses of varying heights, but the height of stones in one particular course is same. In this type of stone masonry, the uniform height stones used in horizontal layers are not less than 13 cm in height. The stones are arranged in such a manner so that the vertical joints of two consecutive cores do not coincide with each other as shown. Next type is polygonal rubble masonry. In this type, the stones are hammer finished on the face to an irregular polygonal shape. These stones are better in position to show face joints running irregularly in all directions. Two types of polygonal walling may be there. In the first type, the stones are only roughly shaped, resulting in only rough fitting. Such a work is known as rough picked work. In the second type, the faces of stones are more carefully formed so that they fit more closely. Such a work is known as closed picked work. So students, till now we have discussed three subtypes of rubble stone masonry: random rubble, square rubble and polygonal. Just compare the figures on the screen and find out the differences between each. In the case of random rubble masonry, stones of varying sizes are irregularly arranged and we can't find any course of stone. Whereas in the case of random rubble masonry built to course, we do find different courses of stones. Even though each course contains stones of different sizes, each course has uniform depth. However, different courses can be of varying depths. In case of squared rubble uncoursed masonry, the stones are either in square or rectangle in shape. In the case of squared rubble masonry brought to course or built to course, we can find different courses of stones with stones of different sizes packed in each course. In the case of regular coursed square masonry, each course consists of stones of same height. In the type of polygonal masonry, stones are roughly dressed to an irregular polygonal shape. So guys, we have two more rubble masonry types to be discussed. And the first one is flint rubble masonry. So this type of masonry is used in the areas where the flint stone is available in plenty. So these are the irregularly sharp nodules of silica. The flint stones varying in thickness from 8 to 15 centimeters and in length from 15 to 30 centimeters are arranged in the facing in the form of coursed or uncoursed masonry. You will find coursed and uncoursed masonry in the figure given on the screen. So these stones are brittle and therefore break easily. So the strength of flint wall may be increased by introducing lacing courses. So these are the lacing courses of either thin long stones or bricks at a vertical interval of 1 to 2 meters. So that's about flint masonry. And guys, you see The blazing layers of brick provided in the building, and see also you see it on the image on the right. Guys, now let's check the last type of rubble masonry. It's called the dry rubble masonry. In fact, the particular feature of this type of masonry is that it doesn't use mortar for construction. Otherwise, random rubble masonry without mortar is called dry rubble masonry. So, this type of masonry is used in the construction of retaining walls in agricultural land, pitching earth dams and canal slopes, etc. And this type of construction is the cheapest but requires more skills in construction. Another point, the hollow spaces left around stones should be tightly packed with small stone pieces. So guys, we have completed the topics on rubble masonry, and that's all for now. And we'll continue the rest of portions in the next lecture. Thank you.